Himalayan Tiger Foundation supported for proposal development of my PhD. That is from Antwerp University, Belgium. My topic is about human carnivore conflict in Chittagong National Park, but here I will give different than my PhD proposal. Here I will talk a little bit about the national parks of Nepal. I will start with some history of the conservation history. If we look at the conservation history, actually it seems like it started as game park, maybe for the rulers or the Rana rulers at that time. In 1846, Chittagong was declared as hunting ground for Rana. So we can see that it was started as that game park. And later on, there were a series of different hunting sessions, and one remarkable one was King George's visit in Chittagong, where he killed 39 tigers, rhinos, many rhinos, and like that. And the first attempt to make conservation was Mahendra Mirakunja, establishment of Mahendra Mirakunja in 1959. Which was declared in 175 kilometers square was declared as the Mahendra Mirakunja. And then later on, the same area was extended to the south of the existing Chittagong area, and that is called Rhino Sanctuary. And in 1973, the first national park was established at Chittagong National Park under this National Parks and Wildlife Conservation Act. And then after many other policies, biodiversity policy came, and then other national parks were established. So we can say in Nepal, the park management or the conservation history starts, the modern conservation history starts from 1970s. So at that time, mostly the parks were species focused, like conservation of rhinos, tigers, and it was protection oriented. Then later on, this concept of the paradigm of this park management is changing, and then in 1980s, when the community forests started and the community role of communities was identified as one of the key for management of the parks, and then integrated conservation and development model was adopted in 1980s, and then ecosystem level conservation, not only the one species but assemblies of species conservation was started. And then after that 1990s that grew up, and then at the when in the 2000, then we started this landscape level conservation programs, and not only the integrated conservation and development but also participatory. So it's not only the development, but it's the participation of people. So then the buffer zone, conservation area management, and then these issues. Then even we are moving further towards the trans-border level conservation in Nepal and bordering countries like India and others. So that's the changing paradigm in the protected area management system. Many of we are aware of this maybe. It shows the national parks and wildlife reserve, national parks and other protected areas in Nepal. I'll come back to this after explaining about what these national parks and wildlife conservation areas here. Cass mentioned that 19%, but actually the area of the national parks, wildlife conservation areas, and all protected areas in Nepal includes 23.23% of the total land of Nepal. And according to IG targets to 2020, 17% of each country or the world should be within protected areas. So Nepal has achieved that target, but that does not include all the core areas or the forest, all the core areas of the park, but it also includes buffer zone and conservation areas where other human activities are also allowed. So there are, we can say, 6 categories of the different parks that exist in Nepal. National parks, there are total 10 national parks in Nepal, and it falls under IUCN category 2. And the army is deployed for the protection of the national parks in Nepal, and there is limited resource extraction, but ecotourism is allowed based on the management plan of the park. Wildlife reserves in its IV protected area category of IUCN, and there are 3 wildlife reserves in Nepal, and wildlife reserves are also protected by armies. And here also there is limited resource extraction in the core areas. Ecotourism allowed only if the targeted species is not affected by that activities. And hunting reserve, which is there is only one hunting reserve in Nepal, Dhorpatan Hunting Reserve, and here it's trophy hunting of selected species is allowed in case of Dhorpatan. Blue sheep is allowed. And conservation area, there are 6 conservation areas which can be managed by community, government, or can be given the management to NGOs. And NTNC is managing 3 conservation areas, Annapurna, Manaslu, and Gauri Shankar, whereas Kanchenjunga conservation area is managed by communities, and other 2 Black Buck conservation area and Apinampa conservation area is managed by the government. And buffer zone was created after most of the case after creating of the national parks, realizing that certain area outside of this core area of the park needs to be declared so that the animals coming from the parks can have the extended habitat, as well as people who are staying or living next to these animals can get benefit from the park. And there are total 12 buffer zone declared already, and here utilization of resources allowed based on the management plan, and settlements can exist within these buffer zones also. So these are the different protected area management system. Coming back to this map, we can see on the map that protected areas are either toward the northern side or the southern side, but there is a broken link in the middle part. So it shows that we need maybe more protected areas. Although we have specially covered 23.23% of the Nepal's protected land, but that doesn't represent all the ecosystems or all the habitats that exist in Nepal. So maybe we need more protected areas in the mid-hill side on this particular region. So that's that from this map we can see that thing. And coming back to this forest area, outside of the protected areas, there are different categories of the forest areas also, which also can act as the area for the wildlife, or can be the extended habitat for the wildlife. So there are different categories of forest. Out of that, this protected forest is somewhere near to the protected areas, but exactly not. It's not the protected area, but it's near to protected area. And important biodiversity areas outside PAs and biological corridor, particularly these are declared as protected forest. And then national forest, we have community forest, leisure forest, religious forest, private forest, and this thing. National parks or these forest areas, if they are well connected together, then they can perform better. We know many parks are becoming like the islands in the human sea, so connecting them is the major challenge of the coming future conservation work. So the vision of landscape level conservation comes from there, and there are 4 landscape level conservation initiatives that are ongoing in Nepal. Tarai Arc landscape, which is also known as tiger conservation landscape, which covers all the areas where tiger exists in Nepal. Sacred Himalayan landscape, or Eastern Himalayas landscape also it's called, the eastern side. And then another important landscape, Chiton Annapurna landscape, which is recently in use after this USAID funded Hariyoban program. That tries to link the Chiton, the southern part of the country, with the northern Annapurna landscape. That is different than others because others are horizontal, this is vertical, so it links north-south, others south-south or north-north. And then there is another Kailash sacred landscape in the western Himalayan region. So these are the different efforts and the conservation areas, but still we have many challenges to overcome for this management of this rare and endangered wildlife. Poaching and illegal wildlife trade is one major challenge. Then habitat loss from fragmentation, degradation, as well as invasive species, which is, you can see the picture of the Mykinia in Chidon. Similarly, there are many other invasives coming. And we know in Nepal, the wildlife population is increasing, particularly tigers, rhinos, and also elephants. And with the increase of these animals, we can expect more human-wildlife conflict, and that can be the next challenge that we need to overcome. Climate change is a global concern, so it also affects on the protected areas. Infrastructure development, particularly in Nepal, in the case of Nepal, the east-west Hulaki road that goes south of the existing road, east-west highway, and railway, that east-west railway line which bisects Chittagong and Bardia in many places. That is another challenge for the park management. Similarly, in some cases, this over-exploitation of the resources, and the next challenge might be some disease and catastrophe coming. So thank you very much.